Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Zombieland Saga Episode 4. So yeah, we're here with another episode of Zombieland Saga, and I don't know how to feel right now. Because last episode was definitely the worst, but I've been told apparently by some people that yeah, it was bad even to fans of the show. That it was just no one really liked it. It was definitely the worst episode. Um, like even the best part of the episode, which is the one girl showing that nice side to the kid, even though she's normally the tough, rough biker gang girl. Even that felt a little out of place compared to like how she normally acts. But it wasn't. It was the best part of the episode, and that's saying something. Um, but yeah, apparently even other people didn't like this episode, even fans of the show. So hopefully that's a sign that things are going to get better. Now, it's not the only show that has had an episode with a drastically different animation thing as well. Like I noted how in the last episode that it like switched back and forth between that really crappy CG. Like I'm not one who normally complains about CG in anime, but that was shit. That was the worst CG I've ever seen in anime. Let's put it that way. Um, it was so bad. But even despite that, other shows have done similar kind of things. Not necessarily with CG, but changing the art style drastically in one episode. And I never understand why they do that. Like, is another studio for some reason behind that single episode? Because this happened in like Gurren Lagann too. In Gurren Lagann, there was an episode, I don't remember which one, but in the early part of the series, because Kamino was still alive, where there was this one episode that almost seemed completely out of place in terms with its tone, with its animation, and everybody agrees that it's probably the worst episode of the show. And it introduces some important characters, true, but at the same time, it's just really distracting and is not an enjoyable experience compared to the rest. Even though Gurren Lagann has a lot more issues than that, but that is definitely the weakest part for sure. And I just don't get why shows do that. Like most shows don't. But there are those certain shows that do have just that one episode that is just so drastically different. And hopefully that means that the show's going to get better from here on out with Zombieland Saga, I mean. But I can't guarantee that because even with the 2 episodes beforehand, my feelings on the show were honestly pretty meh. It's like it has its charm, it has its fun frivolity, but it's nothing that impresses me. And on top of that, I'm not enjoying it that much. The 3rd episode definitely harmed that big time. And that's why I think I'm going to let this episode decide for me. I'm going to let episode 4 decide for me if I want to continue reacting to this. And I specifically say that as reacting to this because I might continue to watch this on my own time if I end up dropping it from reactions, just to see if it does get better. But as for now, I'm just not confident enough. So this episode, I'm going to completely let it lean on this episode right now. And we're almost halfway through. It's like, what, 12, 13 episodes? So some could say, oh, you could wait like 1 or 2 more episodes, wait till you're halfway through. But it's like, I think at this point, I just want to make that decision. And honestly, I think at this point in a series, for a 12 or 13 episode series, you should be making that decision. honestly, most people go by the 3 episode rule. So the fact that I'm moving on to the fourth it should say enough that I'm willing to give this more of a chance than I need to, really. I'm just really hoping that this picks up like drastically. Because let's be honest here. There's not too much that I really like. Like, I think the aspect of this I like the most is the fact that they keep changing up their musical style, and it's like they don't really know what the hell they're doing with that, and it leads to some really interesting performances, even if not all of them are good. uh, Again, the last one really definitely has the focus there, but I mean, think about it. We've had 3 different kinds of performances: heavy metal, rap, and now like idol music, idol pop. So it's like I think that's really fascinating that they're going in with these different styles and everything. Um, but yeah, and probably one of the only other things is the one girl who's still like a instinctual zombie. She doesn't have like her mental facilities in check. She's adorable. Like I've been thinking about it a lot. Rewatching certain scenes and clips and stuff. She's actually really fucking cute. Not necessarily in terms of her looks, though I'm fine with pretty much any of their looks. That's not an issue. It's more of her mannerisms and stuff just kind of makes her hilariously adorable. Um, so she's definitely a highlight. I can't remember any of their names except Sakura, and I only remember that again because of Naruto. Um, and but then you have to look at the things that I really dislike about this, and one of them being the manager. I don't remember his name either. But it's like I despise him so much. And I'm starting to think I'm not supposed to, because I think people are downvoting my reactions because I'm shit talking him. And on top of that, I've heard other people saying that he's hilarious and one of their favorite parts of the show, like just through various social media and stuff. And it's like, how? This guy he's scum. He's terrible. Like, it's like, like at first I was wondering, it's like, am I supposed to hate this guy? And maybe I'm supposed to hate him. Maybe that's the point. But now I'm thinking, no, I don't think it is. And that's not a good thing. Because I really despise him. Like, seriously. And I know, like, people have told me that some of the other characters get development as the show goes on and everything. But right now it seems like only the main character, like Sakura, she's the only one that matters. That's what it kind of seems like right now. Everything seems to revolve around her, and I know she's kind of the main character, but the other ones just, I feel like they almost don't need to be there. I know it's an idol group and you need all these girls and stuff for it, but it's like, honestly, I could have completely seen this show without the other girls, with just it being Sakura, and it would work just as well because the other girls at this point seem almost pointless. Like, I just don't feel like they need to be there. They haven't done anything to like earn their keep. And by the 3rd episode, that's something you really need to do with a cast like this. If you have a show that has this many notable main characters, you have to make them all feel like they are worth something. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, every part of it does that. Every part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does that. It makes all of its characters feel like they are meant to be there. Like that they have an actual purpose in being there. But this is not. It just really isn't. And I'm really hoping that changes. So we're going to see, because I don't know much of anything going forth. I've told you guys everything I do know still at this point. Um, so we'll have to see and hope for the best. But like I said, we are kind of leaving it up to this episode. Um, If this episode doesn't really change my views on this enough, then I'm probably going to drop the show from reactions. And again, maybe watch it on my own time. Um, but I just won't be able to react to it. Because, as I've said in the past, I'm not going to put forth all the effort and everything to react to something if I'm not enjoying reacting to it. Because at that point, it becomes a massive slog to get through, and I'm not going to push that on myself. If I'm going to react to stuff, I want it to be stuff that I enjoy reacting to, you know, that I'm having fun with. So hopefully it changes my mind. We'll have to see. But yeah, so we're just going to get this started. I have no idea where this is going to go, but hopefully it changes my mind. Hopefully it ends up being great. We'll just have to find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So the absolutely horrible CGI returned. You know, I was kind of believing and hoping that that wouldn't return, that it was just going to be the one episode thing, and that it would just be shitty CG, shitty for just one episode, and that's it. But nope, it's back. And it kind of makes me think that it's going to be a recurring thing. On top of that, Kotaro was just as much of an asshole in this episode. In fact, probably more. I'm glad that Saki finally stood up for her and the other girls by, like, walloping him. Like, honestly, he deserves a lot more than that. But it also kind of implies that he might have done something illegal to attain their bodies. If, according to them, bodies are normally cremated, how would he get that? And especially considering, like, some of them have been dead for a long, long time. How would he get their bodies, and how would he have kept them for this long and all? It implies that maybe he's, like, part of some kind of cult of necromancers, and it's not just him doing this. And maybe on top of that, he's, like, been working with others to, like, get these bodies, or, like, their cult or whatever has been getting these bodies for a long time, and just, like, preserving them while waiting to, like, perfect their necromantic magic or whatever ends up bringing them back. I don't know, something like that is kind of what I get from this. This show, every episode seems to follow kind of this pattern almost. Or at least it seems like that's what the show is going for. The girls have, like, some level of doubts about how the performance is going to go. The performance happens, and then somewhere in the episode as well, Kotaro is a complete dick to them and treats them like shit. And at some point, they either risk being caught as zombies or are caught as zombies. Every episode seems to go like that. With the added, of course, their added relationship growth and stuff, but it seems very boring, if I can put it anyways. Like, at the beginning, like, it was definitely interesting enough to keep my attention, but as the series goes on, it's not really doing anything new or fresh or different. It's just kind of doing the same thing over and over. It's progressing a story to some degree, and it's progressing these characters' relationships with each other, but otherwise there's no actual change to what's going on. it's basically like a different skin over the same content. It's not actually upgrading anything. And it's disappointing. On top of that, one of the biggest appeals of this show up until now was the fact that every episode had a different musical style. This episode's musical style was exactly the same as the last episode, and I think it might have been the same song. And if it was the same song, it makes it even worse. In fact, that completely ruins the biggest appeal for me that this show still had. Because that was the biggest appeal for me with this show. The fact that they kept changing their styles, the fact that things kept changing, that things kept like going through these different genres of music and all. And the thing is, though, with it happening like that, you also have to take into account that the first 3 episodes also had them trying to figure out their name. They were going through different names and everything and not sure what they wanted to do. And in the 3rd episode, it is when they figured that out. They came up with Franchushu and everything and kind of connected. So if that means that this is the point where because they come up with the name, because they have their identity as an idol group now, and so that's the kind of style they're going for as well, it happened way too early, if that's the case. For that to work, even with only 13 episodes or so, you'd have to wait till like halfway through, episode 5 or 6, to actually make that concrete decision. There should have been more experimentation with genres and stuff. They could have done so much more. But instead, it's wasted potential. It's just, that's what this show feels like to me. It has potential, but they're wasting it by recycling the same content in pretty much every episode with just a different skin over it. Like, the horrible CG is just so fucking distracting. Kotaro his presence just makes this so hard to sit through. To put it simply, I'm not enjoying this. 4 episodes into this series, I should at least have a desire to continue. I don't. That's why I said in the pre-thoughts that this was going to be the deciding episode for me. And I was basically going to give it one last chance to impress me, to make me want to continue, to make me desire to see more of this series. This episode did the opposite. It actually really, really made me sure that I don't want to continue this. At least not for reactions. Again, maybe I'll watch it on my own time. Or did Rarity Dash do reactions to this series, or was that a different series I'm thinking of? If he did reactions to this series, maybe I'll just watch his reactions. But either way, I can't continue on my own. Or at least not for reactions. I'm not enjoying it, and it's honestly taking a huge strain on me. It's one of those experiences where it just feels like I don't want to actually get to it, and it's starting to become more of a chore. And especially after this episode, I just really don't care anymore. And again, like I said in the pre-thoughts, I noted how none of the actual other characters besides Sakura seemed like they mattered. And that was definitely on display in this episode. Saki was the closest, but even she didn't seem like she mattered that much. Also, has that zombie dog actually done anything in this series? I don't think it has. It's just kind of there. Like it's a thing that exists, so let's have a little zombie dog because it'll sell merchandise or some shit. That's what it feels like. It's not even doing anything. It's not even part of the story at all. I feel like this show was the creators going on this tangent about, oh, people like idol shows like Love Live and stuff, right? Well, let's kind of flip that around and make them zombies. And have this necromancer character who's an asshole, because why the fuck not? Even though it makes no sense and we don't know what we're doing or how to work it properly. Oh, and people are loving it anyways because it's cutesy and because they're zombies and it's unusual for this kind of genre of anime. I don't see the appeal in this. I don't see it. And it definitely doesn't have that appeal for me. So I really do apologize for everyone who really likes this show and wanted to see me continue this. I'm not going to. I have no desire to continue. I just don't want to watch this, honestly. Not for reactions, at least. I just don't care. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about the story. I don't care. Like, even with the aspect that there's a trans character in it, like it's like, okay, she's a trans character. That doesn't save the show from its downfalls. That doesn't stop it from being a bad show just because there's a trans character in it. I can't just say I like a show because there's a trans character in it. It doesn't work like that. Maybe it's just not my thing. If you guys like it, that's fine. You have every right to do so. And I hope that it brings you joy, and I hope that the second season, when it comes, I hope that you enjoy that. But yeah, it's not for me. It's just everything about it I just don't like. So I apologize if that's upsetting to some people. I apologize like, if you disagree and if we're at kind of at odds with our taste in anime here and whatnot, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and continue reacting to a show that is just that bothering to me. That is just not enjoyable, pretty much at all. So I apologize, but we have to move on. Now, as for what will replace it, I do want to announce this right away because I have everything set up for that kind of situation. I have a list here on Word of like all of my slots, all my reaction slots, and everything that will replace for each of those slots, basically. And for this slot, since we're moving away from polls, as I stated in that update video yesterday, since we're moving away from polls, this slot is going to get to, at least for this next show, something I've wanted to check out for a long time, but just never have. An older show that I know almost nothing about and have just wanted to see based almost solely on the opening alone, because the opening is that good. And that is Cyber 6. Cyber 6, I believe, was a Canadian-made show. And all I know about it is that the main character is some kind of experiment, and that she's rebelling against her creator by being a vigilante superhero. That is all I know about it. The opening is badass, though. The opening is pretty badass. This is a 13-episode series. It's very short. It's only one season. I think it came out in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. But it definitely has a dated-looking art style from what I've seen. But not too bad. I don't know how the animation is. I don't know how the voice acting is going to be or whatnot. But again, it's something I've wanted to see for quite a long time, because of the opening, but just never have gotten around to. And I'm hoping to enjoy it. But yeah, that is what is coming up next for this slot, which is basically the number 3 slot, if you want to give it a number. So the next one we are doing is Cyber 6, and like with anything on this channel, since we have no schedule, I could get to it at any point. I'm not going to promise any time or day or whatever. We'll just have to see. But yeah, so that will be replacing Zombieland Saga pretty much right away. I'll update the banner as quickly as I can after this video is uploaded and everything. But yeah, I really, again, do apologize for everyone who's a fan of Zombieland Saga and everything. It's not for me. I just can't get into it. I just don't think that it's my kind of show. I gave it a chance. I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, and I gave it a chance and was hoping for the best. And it doesn't appeal to me. It's not my kind of thing. And I just don't see the inherent enjoyment for it. So maybe that's just me. But then again, unfortunately, I do tend to have some differing reactions from a lot of people on certain anime. So yeah, there is that. I mean, I hate Code Geass. Kamina and Gurren Lagann is the weakest point of the series for me, and honestly almost ruined the series for me. So yeah, I clearly have some differing opinions on things. But yeah, so I apologize, I really do. But we're going to move on to Cyber 6 and go from there. Hopefully everything else ends up being good. Hopefully everything else we continue to watch goes better than this. But yeah, I can't do this anymore. This show, it's just like I don't see the appeal in it, and I don't enjoy reacting to it. Again, maybe I'll check it out on my own time, or if ReDirect did react to it, maybe I'll check out his reactions, but that's probably my only chance of continuing at this point, so we'll see. If I do continue it through one of those means and I end up liking where it goes, then I'll probably do a review on it and say my thoughts then, but I don't see where it's going to, I don't see it changing that much. I don't see it becoming that much better at this point. I feel like by this point in the series, it would have had to have already done something. So I apologize, but yeah, we are dropping this one. But in the meantime, we have plenty of other shows to react to and plenty of other opportunities. We have a lot still in the waiting. So tell me what you thought in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.